Hey guys, welcome back for the next lecture. In this one, we're going to be looking at panes and freeze panes. Well, what are panes? Panes are basically dividers in your sheet, okay? And what they allow you to do is view multiple areas of your sheet, especially when the data is large. It's extremely helpful. So let me illustrate. Let's pretend that this data is actually much bigger than it is, okay, for this purpose. So I'm just going to create some fake data in here, like so. Okay. Now, what's really important about this is the fields. So let's look at the fields at the top. Okay. We have the headings. Now, what happens when you get a bit further down? Let me ask someone, what's the heading of this column? You'd have to go all the way up, right? And that's the issue. So what panes allow you to do is, if I can illustrate quickly, is it keeps the headings at the top, as you can see. So no matter where I scroll, I can see the data at the top. Now the same works along the horizontal. So let's get rid of that. Let's say I want to be able to see the days of the week and the titles all the time, no matter where I go in the data. Right? Now check this out. If I go down, I can still see the headings. If I go across, I can still see the days, no matter how far across I go. Okay, so, oops, a bit too far. So let me illustrate going across as an example. Right? Now, look at the days here. Let's make it bold so you can see. Bold, yep, there we go. Now if we go to the right, the days remain there. So what it allows you to do is really get a good idea of what is in your workbook, okay? It gives you reference points, it gives you columns, it gives you titles. It maintains all of that for you. So it's a very, very powerful tool. Now, the story of how I discovered freeze panes wasn't because someone took the time and taught me or something like that. It was actually by accident. I was working on a file, and I was helping a friend out or something like that. And I accidentally did it, and I thought I broke his Microsoft Excel. So I started to freak out, and I was trying to fix it, and it turns out it was part of Excel all along. So there are two ways to actually introduce panes into our workbook, okay? Now each one has different advantages and disadvantages. So let's do the first one. Let's first minimize this, because we won't need it for now. Alright, now what you want to be able to look at for this first one is, if I can get my drawing tool, and it's really small, it's this thing over here. It's right above the triangle, okay? That's the first one. And the next one is, if I can find it, this one here, okay? So they're very small things and it's really easy to miss. Now what you want to do is, you want to grab that, okay, and you want to bring it down. Now you're going to see this little gray line. Now that's going to decide where your freeze pane is, okay? Now we're going to put it up, let's say over here, okay? That's the first one. So as you can see, as I scroll down, the top is going to maintain itself, right? It's going to stay there. So again, let's try the example. Make this bigger just for illustrative purposes, right? So no matter how far down I go, it maintains the top. Now let's go to the right. Now you want to select this bit here, and you want to go all the way to B and C. There we go. Now if we zoom out a bit, it's still going to be the same data. We're just going to have additional views of that data. So let's go down, right? But as you go down, it maintains the headings, as you can see, and as you go across, it maintains the days, right? Now the difference between this and the next freeze pane we do is that for each region, you have sliders, which means you have multiple windows into the same data, okay? This is especially useful when you have, for example, a legend at the top, which says yellow is this, red is that, green is whatever, and that's a long list. So you want to be able to scroll up and down in that list, okay? And the other reason is it's dynamic, it allows you to jump around. Okay, that's the other advantage of this one. And as you can see, you can readjust this by simply grabbing the edge. Okay, you can grab it like so, the vertical one, and if you select the center, you can move the whole thing like so. Okay, now if you want to get rid of it, the easiest way is to double click it, and you're back to where you started. One of the issues I have with this method is, for example here, if you go up too high, you're actually duplicating the view of the same data, right? So in a sense, it uses up a lot more room on your screen sometimes, okay? Not a massive disadvantage, but a disadvantage nonetheless. So the other method is freeze panes. Now, freeze panes are different, okay? But they're the same at the same time. So a bit mysterious. So let's go in. Now, the difference between freeze panes is that they're stuck, they're static, okay? You won't be able to adjust it once it's in there. And then to move it, you have to unfreeze it and then reintroduce it again. Okay, so the way to get there is to go to View, Window, and Freeze Panes. Okay, now before I show you the automated way to do it, we're going to go from the old method. So let's first introduce a pane, like so. Then we want to go View, Window, Freeze Panes, and then the first one, Freeze Panes. Now, as you can see, it went from a thick line to a really thin black line. Now, the difference between this one is it locks that position into place. So you can't go any further. This is probably a bad example. Let me just move this down. Okay, let's say it's over here and go freeze pane. For this bottom one, you don't have individual sliders anymore. It's the one document. See the difference? Now, it's the same for going across. So if we unfreeze, like so, and we go freeze pane, you will only get one slider, right? And that's for usually these areas here, okay? Okay, so let's take that freeze pane off now. All right, so like I said, the easiest way is to use the sliders, find the position that you like it in, okay? Then go View, Freeze Panes, Freeze Pane. Alright, and there you go. Now this is the one I see people using most of the time. Okay? Now if you wanted to do it straight from the freeze pane, I'll show you guys how to do that too. So unfreeze panes and get rid of this. Now wherever you select, the top left corner of where you've selected, so if this is a square, okay, the top left corner is this one of the square you've selected. Okay, the freeze pane is going to generate on top of where the cell is, okay, and on the left here. So that's where it's going to build itself. So let's do that now. We're in here, the first cell, freeze panes, freeze pane. There we go. So as you can see, the line is now here. As you can see, goes across and here. And this will allow you to view your data a whole lot better. Alright? I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys next time.